Hi guys, welcome to the Get It Done podcast with Erin. The podcast where I talk to business owners about their journey in business, their complete story of how they got to where they are. Um, the ideal or the core of the podcast, my prayer for the podcast is that people will be inspired to do the things that they have always wanted to do. I talk to a lot of people, and the foundation of why they're not doing the thing is fear. So I hope that I will be able to assist someone, even if it's just one person, but hopefully it's loads and loads of people. But my prayer is that we will inspire them, that they will see something, that they will hear something, that they will hear somebody that looks like them, that sounds like them, somebody that they could relate to, whatever it may be, to do the thing, to get up and get over their fear and do it. So today's guest, usually I know absolutely nothing about the person that I am talking to. I kind of know her name is Tiffany. I know her. She came to get a facial probably a couple years ago. I don't know how long. It's been a while. I do know that she's an author. I did get a book from her. I gave it to my cousin for Christmas one year. I know that she frequents Africa. She travels a lot. But we'll add her on so that she can share her own story. Let me get her. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, how are
How
you?
are you? Let me
I'm
fix this
good. How's
really
it
fast.
going?
Well, thank you for being here. I'll just let you go ahead and get started. Just introduce yourself and let us know what it is that you do.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on. And speaking of facials, I literally was just in Mexico and I thought about you. I was like, I need to book another facial.
Did you
um,
get a facial in Mexico?
I didn't. I didn't have time. I just got a massage and ran out of time for the facial. So that's when I thought about you. I was like, well, I just need to call her and really enjoy my facial last Um, so yeah, my name is Tiffany Heard. As already stated, I am an author. Now you were around when the first book was out, so now we have the second book out. Um,
Period. We working.
yeah. The second book is about the first book is called Hues of Africa, so it's all about Africa. And then the second book is Hues of HBCUs. It is all about HBCUs, the sororities, fraternities, and the HBCU experience. And then, as mentioned, I am a traveler. So I just came back from a solo trip to Mexico, which was fun. Um,
Nice.
and I also host group trips. So we go to Ghana in December, and we're going to Egypt in November. And then I do day trips from California.
Nice.
So that's a little bit about the entrepreneurship world and whatever else comes up, speaking engagements comes from the books and different things like that. So we are just doing 50 million things all at one time.
You are on it, girl. So how'd you get started? Like, what was the very first business that you started, and how'd you get started doing it?
So we got more into group trips. So a little quick story. I had lost my job and I was like, I think I should take a little time off. I hadn't planned on taking as much time off, literally ended up being like 4 years. Um,
Nice.
but anyway, in between that, we started the group trips. And so I had a friend who was like, hey, Tiffany, you should start group trips. And I was like, I'm not starting a group trips. I was like, I need a job. Like I'm used to working my 9 to 5. And so he was like, but this is my full-time job. And I was like, well, that's great for you, but I still need to go get a job. And so eventually we did start doing the group trips. And I always have to shout him out because unfortunately he passed away from COVID.
Aw.
But I always say that he's kind of like the inspiration little bug in my ear to say, hey, think about doing this. So that's how the group trip started. We started off with Ghana. And soon as I think that was January, we came back. And soon as March, the pandemic hit. So we had to seize, of course, our trips, which is hilarious because I had a group trip for 15 people to go to Colombia. We're like, oh yeah, COVID's gonna be over in a couple weeks, a couple months. Who knew that it would be 2 years?
Right.
And so since I could not go to Colombia, I was in the store at Walmart. I don't know if you remember during COVID, you had to stand outside. You couldn't just automatically walk in the store. And so as I'm in the line, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna make this book. And she was like, oh, okay. I don't know if she believed me or not.
Parents usually are just like, whatever.
Right. And so that's how we started the books, because I'm like, how do we bring travel to people? Because we can't go anywhere, but I want them to learn. When you hear Africa, it's almost a negative thing sometimes if you've never been there. So I wanted to make sure that we represented in a way that was positive while bringing travel to people and while earning income, because we had to cease the group trips. So that's how we got started.
So you mentioned that when he was like, come on, let's do this group trip stuff. And you're like, no, I want to, I'm used to working my 9 to 5. So was that rooted in fear, or it was just something that you were just used to and you didn't even think anything other? Have you ever prior to this thought about being in business?
So I probably done like little stuff on the side, but no, it wasn't fear. It was just I'm used to working. Like I wasn't interested in entrepreneurship at all. I'm okay. Somebody called me a very simple person. I was like, I'm very simple. Give me my check. Long as I can pay my bills and travel, I'm good. And that's what I was doing already. So for me, it wasn't fear. It was just, when you're used to doing one thing, you're like, let's keep this up. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I was like, and I don't know if I want to
do it. So did you go back to work, or are you still doing? Oh, you did go back to work. Okay.
So, well, 4 years later, yes. So now the 4 years later is here now. So now I'm back at work as well. So I do both. So I work full time, and then I also have the business on the side as well. I can't even say the business is a side business because business is doing good.
it's both a full-time thing, but you are an example of you can do both, because I think when people think like business, they think I have to quit my job to do this. And it's like, no, you can do both. And a business doesn't have to even really be a full-time thing. A business could be just what you're doing on the side, part-time, just making like a little bit of extra money. It just depends on whatever the goal is for it.
And honestly, entrepreneurship, you're an entrepreneur as well, Erin, and you can make $1 one day and 10,000 the next. So it is very up and down all over the place. So sometimes that 9 to 5 stabilizes you as well. So.
Yep, it helps with the downtime for sure. For me, in my downtime, what I do is I focus on other areas or like ideas that I had that I wanted to try, or so that's how I'm able to like do different things. So I'm grateful for the downtimes, because when I'm busy, I can't do like all the extra stuff. So I am grateful for those times as well. We just have to find a way to enjoy the whole process, including the downtime. Um, I was gonna ask you. Oh, how many trips have you been on since you started? Do you know?
Oh, I don't really like. Some people take tallies of trips in countries. I don't know how many trips I've been on, but I'm sure just in general, not just with the entrepreneur. You talking about with entrepreneur with the group trips, or just in general?
Well, once you started the trips with the guy, what is it called?
So no, my company's name is Hues of Africa. I never started with him. He encouraged me to start my own business and do the trips. Okay. So since then, remember the pandemic was 2 years, so that's we couldn't do it during that time. So I think we've done 3 trips to Ghana, 1 to Colombia, and we've done several trips to Mexico. I've at least taken over 50 women over to Mexico. Those are day trips. So if anybody is in California, we cross the border into Tijuana and Rosarito. Nice. So we've done. So I would say all together, we probably done at least 10 trips in the last 2 years for sure.
Nice. Yeah. So the Hues of Africa is the name business of the travel business.
Yeah. So it's all under one umbrella, but and we just got our LLC. So it's Hues of Africa LLC. So under that umbrella is the group trips and the books. And it's funny enough because people are like, well, how are they combined together? Well, they're combined together because on the Ghana trips, they get the Hues of Africa book because it's about Africa as well. The hues of HBCs are not really incorporated into trips right now, but you never know. One day we maybe start doing HBCU tours.
I was just about to say it could be school tours.
Right.
It
I
will
love
be school tours.
exactly. I did an HBCU tour when I was in high school, so I am a big fan of it. And that is something that I wouldn't mind delving into. Now, dealing with children is a whole different ball game. There's so much stuff involved. But I know, community colleges take adults on HBCU tours as well. So
Yeah.
I could be unique and offer something like that because most people are usually taking high schoolers. So
Yeah.
it's something that we could definitely implement in the future for sure.
Yeah. Because I have a friend. She did the whole college experience. She stayed in the dorms and everything. I believe because we're the same age, or I think I'm probably about a year older than her. So that was probably about, so she was probably about like 35 years old in the dorms with like the kids and stuff. So, and I think she had a friend that was in school that she met while she was there that was around her age. So more and more people are doing it. So, yeah,
Right.
I would say go for it. Who is your ideal client for travel as far as like the travel wise?
That's funny because we should talk about who is my ideal client and who is not.
That's why.
uh, which is funny, Erin, because I saw your post about somebody complaining about something. I saw your post and I was just like, this is what we have to deal with as business owners. Some people are you just never going to please. I don't care what you do, how you do it. They're just not going to be happy. But my ideal client, one person that I can specifically think of, and this also ties into like keep going as well when we talk about business slowing down. So this particular year, there was several people I signed up at the end. Mostly everybody backed out. I had one person that ended up going on this Ghana trip. But when I tell you that it was one of the best trips that I've had, I was unsure because I was like, is it going to be me, her, and the guide? How's this going to work? Are we going to get along? Are we going to get tired of each other? When I say she was the best travel partner ever, and
Nice.
we can go on several trips. And what made her a good travel person is I feel like she went with the flow. If you know anything about travel or if you know anything about Ghana, things are different. I think people travel expecting the same things from where they're from, and it's not like that. So the
Yeah.
food is not going to be the same, service is not going to be the same, weather is not going to be the same. And I think people forget that when they travel. So when I tell you this particular person, she'll mind if I say her name. Her name is Erica. Erica went with the flow with everything. And she was just very appreciative of the opportunity. And I felt like she opened herself up to all the experiences and took it in. And for me, that's a wonderful client.
Yeah.
So funny enough, I was on her podcast a couple weeks ago and we were recapping what happened in Ghana. But for me, that is the ideal client, is to kind of go with the flow and be open because things change. I can have a whole itinerary and I may have to say, okay, well, today we have to do this. We have to switch it up. And if you're very rigid and strict about an itinerary, long as we get everything done in the week, that should be the most important thing. But some people are very particular and very funny, and you really can't be like that when you're traveling, especially.
That's why I don't like traveling with people because I feel like anytime I leave my house, it should be relaxing because I work all the time. Like I live here, I work here. So like vacation to me, I don't want to schedule. Like, and I know most of this is why I don't really travel with people because most people are like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. I'm just like, I want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to like eat what I want to eat. Just chill. Like I am the ultimate chill girl when it comes to any type of travel. Anytime I'm leaving my house, it
Yes,
has to be for relaxation.
right. I literally just posted about solo traveling yesterday on
I'm
Facebook.
sure it was amazing.
That is so. Of course, my business is group travel, right? But me personally, I love solo travel. Just because, like you said, if I want to wake up when I want to wake up, like this week for Mexico or last week, I didn't plan anything before I got there. So it was literally like the night before, like, oh, okay, this looks cool. Let's plan this. And so if I had been with somebody, they'd been like, what are we doing? What time we're leaving? I'm ready to eat, all this kind of stuff. And so I just love the flexibility of solo travel for sure, especially since I'm starting to do more group trips. I appreciate my alone time.
How often do you do solo travel?
Anytime I can. There is no particular time. And as a group travel person, I have to plan stuff a year in advance. But with solo travel, I'm like, oh, okay, let's
Just
just go
get up
this
and go.
month or exactly. So actually the Cancun trip, my cousin got married. Everybody came in Friday, left Monday. I was like, well, I think I want to stay the whole week. They're like, you're staying the whole week? Yes, I will see y'all when I get back. So that's again the good thing about just being able to do what you want to do on vacation.
I agree. And you don't have children, do you?
I don't have any children, no.
Why are they doing that? So that is the beauty of being able to do things that we want to do as well. No children, nothing to like hold us back or stop us from going or doing.
But I will say that even if I were to have kids, I have a really good family support system. So I got mama, daddy, aunties, uncles, sisters. So I would be dropping them kids off if I need to go on vacation.
Oh, my kids are for sure going to be called. They're going to be porch kids because I'm dropping them off on the porch and I'm driving off.
Exactly.
What are you grateful for today?
I think first of all, I feel like I'm gonna say I and we. I feel like my little blue passport, if you have a little blue passport, we are very privileged to see the world.
Sure.
When I travel to other places, they're constantly telling me like, you're so lucky you get to travel to anywhere you want. And it's true. If I have the money to buy a plane ticket to go to Japan today, I can do that with no issues. And so the fact that I'm privileged to see the world, I think that's a blessing. Some people will never, ever in their lifetime see the things that I've seen. And I feel like I still have a whole lot to see. So I think that's what I'm most grateful for is just the opportunity to see the world and for the opportunities that I've gotten within business. I'm excited about February was a great month. It was Black History Month. It's like now one of my favorite months for business. And I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen next. Funny enough, somebody, when I was in high school, this lady, and I don't know if whoever believe in church or who don't, but this lady in high school came up to me and basically prophesied that she saw me standing in front of crowds and stages and different things like that. And it has come true. Even all these years later, that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm grateful for the opportunities. And I'm grateful for the people that I know because sometimes stuff is all about who you know as well.
It really is. It's a lot about who we know. Can you share any advice that has made like a difference in your business?
I would say, go ahead.
No, I was just saying whatever comes to mind.
I definitely would say you have to keep going. Because again, like I said, with the travel business, I think the first time we started off with 4 people, then the pandemic hit, then we had 1 person, but then this last trip we had 20 people. And so I feel like no matter what it looks like, you have to keep going forward. Even for as the books, I think my first book, we sold over 500 copies, which I think was great, especially my first book. It's an untraditional book. But with the second book, we are selling bulk copies in orders of 100. And we're doing speaking engagements. So again, I don't feel like you should stop at the first thing just because it may not be going well or not going well, maybe not how you expected. I feel like you have to keep going. You have to keep showing up. And that also relates to the group trips too. People see me travel. They're like, hey, Tiffany, I'm booking this trip because I see you travel. I'm booking this trip because I saw your post. So you have to keep showing up, but keep showing up is going to take a while. It's something, I mean, you can go viral overnight, but that's like 1 in a million chances. So if you're just a regular person, you need to be showing up every time, all the time, because I guarantee you people are watching you and it may change their decision about something you're selling or doing because they keep seeing you show up.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of times people think it is, I'm going to go in business and everything's just going to take off. And it's like, no, girl, this is like the long run. Like a lot of stuff that we do for our business is usually for years and years to come. It's not like an immediate thing. Like I can't think of anything that I've done, like actually put in like a lot of work in that shows up immediate results. I mean, like small things, but like most things are long term. So yes, I agree. What is your favorite thing about being in business?
I think my favorite thing is getting a chance to like meet different people. I think if I were not in the travel world of influencer, social media content creator, I wouldn't have met half the people. Because some of your Facebook friends are some of your biggest supporters, and you just have the opportunity to. I love meet or typing with people online. It could be years, and then we'll all of a sudden meet, in a different country or something like that. So for me, it's being able to meet different people. And I would say the ability to inspire people. People always tell me I'm an inspiration. And when I hear that, it warms my heart, because I'm like, if I can inspire one person to either travel the world or just to get out of their comfort zone or to do something they've never done, then my job is done. So those are the things that I really appreciate about business.
Nice. Okay, back to the book. Tell us about the book. Give us more details about each book.
Okay, so Hues of Africa, Hues of Africa Journey Between the Lines. As you can see, I adopted part of the title as my company name. But yeah, so it's a coloring activity book. On one side, you have activity, on the other side, you have coloring. And so there are beautiful pictures of different countries in Africa. So let's say Ghana, like I would literally find a picture of somebody in Ghana, and we would recreate another picture for the coloring page. So I wanted it to be close to the country as possible. So when people say, hey, I'm from Ghana, they'll look and they'll be like, oh my God, this is like something I would see back at home. And so and then the activity side allows you to learn about different aspects of the different countries as well. We have hair, braiding, language, music in that particular book. And that book is about, I would say 80 something pages. And then our second book, we're still going along with the same theme. This is the second book, the Hues of HBC Hues. And so this one, as you can see, is 200 pages. It is a lot thicker than the first book. And so in this book, again, for example, this is like a Morris Brown page. So if you see Morris Brown, you would know this particular sign if you went to that school. And then on this side, you'll be able to actually learn about the school as well. And then you'll have like the sororities. I'm a part of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. And so you'll have the activity where you can learn more about the sorority, and then a picture of them. And then lastly, the back of it is just like the HBCU experience. So this is a picture of Miss Beyonce because she did the drumline thing
at Coachella.
Yeah. And then on this side is different movies and shows. I don't know if anybody ever watched College Hill before. So
I remember College Hill.
Yes. Now they actually have Celebrity Edition on now. We have A Different World. If you ever watched that show, I know our era watched that show growing up, and it actually still comes on TV. Yeah. So that's what you have in this 200 page book. And the reason why I created these is because I feel like it's important for us as Black people, African American people, to know about their history. And I don't think we do. And we live in California, which they also talk about UC systems and Cal State systems. They don't mention HBCUs as much because we don't have any here. And so I want kids to be able to learn, but in a fun way, because we already know how short is our attention span. Kids and adults, we got a short attention span. You may not want to read a 200 page book about HBCUs, but you could do it in a fun way here.
Nice.
So that's what the books are about.
I love it. And then the age group for your books are?
So a lot of people always ask me that question, but honestly, I am of a certain age. I dedicated this book to my 3-year-old niece, right? So unfortunately, she's probably too young to like do the activities, but she can definitely color, and I can teach her in my own way. We have been to elementary schools, high schools, and even colleges are buying this for their students when they go on their HBCU tours. So when I say it's hard to pinpoint an age, it's very hard. But in terms of them doing the activities on their own, I would say middle school and up. And again, adults can learn, because I only went to Howard University. I didn't know about the other 100 and something schools that they have. So I learned a lot as an adult. So that's why I say it's for everybody.
Are you from LA? Born and raised?
I'm born and raised in LA. Yep.
Did you go to high school here?
Yep. I went to King Drew in Compton.
Oh, nice. So because I'm thinking about putting together like I don't know, something where we go and visit the schools in LA, but I was going to get people that went to school, high schools in particular, just talking about business, sharing what we're doing, and letting them know the possibilities. The only reason why, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I even knew about entrepreneurship, I was probably about I don't know, it was probably about this, between the 2nd and the 4th grade. Some guy came, he talked about different career paths, and we filled out the little pamphlet. And mine was, well, once they did the math or whatever they did. Mine ended up being an entrepreneur. In my mind, as a kid, I thought I wanted to be a second grade teacher. And look, like, who would have ever known at that age that this is what I would be doing? And it is the absolute love of my life. And I know a lot of kids that live in our communities, they most 9 times out of 10, they don't leave out of the area. I've worked with high school kids. I work with junior high. I work with elementary kids. A lot of the kids do not leave, like, probably 20 miles outside of wherever they live. And I just want to show them something different and let them know, like, you don't have to go get a 9 to 5. That is an option, but having a business is an option as well.
And I
So
feel like the person that came and talked to you, he planted the seed. And so for me, when I've been doing my speaking engagements about the hues of HBCUs book, I'm like, I don't know if they'll remember it, but there has been a seed that has been planted. They'll look back and be like, oh, I remember this lady came and had a
they
book.
don't remember.
You know what I'm saying? So I think just planting a little seed is going to help them, and they'll look back on it later, just as you just told your story of you being in second grade.
Right. Okay. So would you be open to, like, joining us?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, long as time permits and different
Yeah.
things like that. I like doing the speaking engagements with the kids. Yeah.
Okay. I'm still working on it. It's still an idea developing, but we'll see how it goes. What motivates you?
I mean, sometimes, well, I was gonna say you got to motivate yourself, right? Because the thing about with 9 to 5, you have a supervisor looking over you, like, did you do this? Blah blah blah. You have these deadlines. Well, entrepreneurship, there is nobody telling you anything. And I say it for the books because nobody is giving me a deadline for these books. Like, I have to stay motivated and be like, oh, okay, let me write something today. Let me do this today. Now, I will say sometimes telling other people will motivate you because they'll be like, well, did you write today? Or I thought you were going to produce the book by January. So sometimes that's another motivator because they may like keep saying, well, hey, what's going on with it?
They
And I would
keep
say,
you accountable.
right, exactly. And I would say another thing that keeps me motivated is like when I get like the little messages and be like, thank you so much, Tiffany. I enjoyed this podcast, or I took your advice from something that you wrote, or so that gives me encouragement because sometimes with the social media algorithm, it's like, are they seeing it? Are they not? The views are low. That's the talk of the town right now. And so when you get messages saying that they saw it, that they loved it, that they actually went to a place that you recommended, then that is definitely a motivator to keep going.
Nice. So is there anyone that is living that has inspired you, helped you, um that you extremely appreciate, that you can think of?
I guess the person that would come to my mind is my grandmother. My grandfather used to be the pastor of our church, and he passed away. Now my grandmother has taken over. And so although we don't look at pastorship as entrepreneurship, it's just like it
It for
is.
sure is.
Right. It is, because that's not something that, I mean, some pastors are on the payroll, I guess, but the point is that's not something that I doubt she would imagine that she would be the pastor. There's a difference between a pastor's wife and a pastor. So now
Right.
that she's a pastor in her older age, sometimes I'm like, Granny, are you sure you don't want to let it go? I want you to enjoy your last years. But the fact that she ultimately takes care of, her kids, and then we're next to grandkids, and then this whole congregation. So I just feel like the weight of the world is probably on her shoulders. But she does it so gracefully. My granny looks good. She's like 70 some years old. She looks very good for her age. And
Yeah.
so I just think her strength and different things like that is like, if she can do something like that, then surely I could do something like entrepreneur. And the other thing I love about my granny is like she shows up for us all. And when I say that, like if I'm having a book signing, my granny's going to be there. When I graduated from Howard, she flew to Howard right there in the
Like,
front.
I'm going to see my baby.
Right, exactly. So even though it's a bunch of us, like I said, she has 6 kids and 20 something grandkids and even more great grandkids. She is going to, if she can, and usually if there's nothing conflicting, which is usually not, she will definitely be there to show up and show out for us. So.
Nice. Thank you, Grandma.
Yes.
So either today, tomorrow, within the next few days, contact Grandma, call her. I don't know. Some grandmas text, some don't. But call her and let her know you appreciate her. I'm sure you've told her before, but like they like to hear that type of stuff. People that we appreciate, we can never give too much appreciation. So give grandma her flowers. Don't forget.
Her hug, her pat on the back, her flowers, everything. Absolutely.
Everything. Um Beach days are rainy days in the house. We've been getting a lot of rain, us Californians. So
I
what
know.
would
I
you say?
no, finish your question. Go ahead.
No, I was just that was just it. Beach day or rainy day in the house.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, I'm not a fan of the rain at all. I was like, oh my God, I feel like we're living in Seattle or so. What is going on? So I'm definitely more of a beach day. But of course, if it rains, we are staying in the house. We ain't going nowhere unless we have to. But beach day for sure, all day over
Yeah,
rain.
every day, all day. I have been enjoying. I don't like when it rains and I have to work because I have to go get the people from the gate, and I'm like, I don't want to walk in the rain. So I'm like, that part is I don't enjoy. But when I'm not working, I like to go sit on the porch and like watch and listen to the rain. That has been like so relaxing. But for sure, I am a beach girl. Um, what is a question that you would ask another business owner?
Um, I guess the question I would ask is like, how have they dealt with difficult clients? Because again, when they're good clients, they're good clients. When they bad, they bad. And so I guess that would be my question because I always want to see how people handle different situations. I had a situation that I won't talk about, but it was very difficult. And I was like, I definitely felt like now if I had the same situation, I would definitely do things different. But it was my first time in that situation. So I handled the situation as best as I could. And I think I handled it pretty well. There's one thing that, again, I know I won't do again. But it is done now. So it is what it is. It's one of those learning curves. But when those situation comes, I want to be talking to other business owners like, hey girl, what should I do? How should I handle this person? So that would be my question to them. What do you
Yeah.
do in those times?
Difficult clients are people are I think they forget that okay, this is a business, but I am me. Like I'm a human, I'm a person. And who you think you're talking to? Like, because that for me, it doesn't go out the window. Like, I'm gonna give you respect, but once the respect is out of the window, here we are, you know? Um, and I don't ever want to find myself in a situation where because they like will test you, but some people are they get very bold in their whatever they feel is going on, like when they feel that they're right. And I take accountability. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, and I do that off the bat because I don't ever want to be like, I'm not gonna argue with you if I know that I'm wrong. But if you in the wrong, or if you there was some misunderstanding on your part and I provided everything you needed, I'm gonna stand my ground. Like I feel like because what people think is, oh, I'm gonna do all this to ruin whatever she has going on. No, honey, that don't happen. Like I'm here because God put me here. I'm here
Right.
because this is the space where
Exactly.
God said that I'm supposed to be, and I'm gonna stand on that. Like with all my hands, my toes, my
Exactly.
fingers.
Right. No, I say the same thing. I'm like, if you ever say, if you, first of all, even if you don't know me, you know me. And you know me in terms of I'm always a very nice person. Like you said,
Hmm.
I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. If I say I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, and this is pertaining, and this had nothing to do with books, it's pertaining to group trips. If I say that I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z, I'm going to give you X, Y, and Z. If I don't, like you said, then I can take accountability. But on each trip, this is what I provide, and this is what you're going to get. Now, if
And
you don't like,
sometimes things happen where if I told you I was gonna do something, or I said that it was gonna be this way, but you know what, this just happened, and because of that, this can't happen.
right,
Like,
exactly. Then you exactly. But like you said, when the disrespect comes in, and if somebody tries to tell me, "Oh, I'm gonna tell people you're a scammer, your business," and I'm like, "Honey, do what you need to do
yep.
because I know." Again, whose child I am. I'm a child of God, okay? And so
Yep.
again, if he put me in this business, the business shall remain. Nothing you do or say can interrupt that.
Yep.
And karma is real. So if you spreading false lies, now if you telling the truth, that's a different story. But if you
Yep.
spreading false lies, I don't worry about people like that because I'm blessed and life goes on. What they say, one monkey does not stop the show. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? So if you want to act a monkey over there, I'm gonna be over here with my other
Yep.
people that
For real.
appreciate and is excited about what we're doing. We're in a new country. We're having fun. And if you want to be negative Nancy, we don't do those on our trips. So
And that for you, it seems harder because like you're traveling. Like I'm at home. Like when my gate locked, my gate is locked. Like you are like in another country with people and all these different personalities and all that. So
but I would say yours is, yes, I'm in another country, but yours I feel like is even more, is slightly dangerous in the fact that these people know where you live at.
yeah,
And so luckily ain't nobody,
that's why the blood is always covered. I'm always eating the blood. But
right
yes,
before people praying before people walk in. Yeah. So
yep.
the cool thing is, like I said, these people live in other places. They not with me. So it is what it is. But I just feel like, again, like I said, God got me in. Long as I'm doing my part, my business will flourish as it has and will
Every
continue.
day, all day.
Exactly.
I love it. I was gonna okay, let's do this one. So I do a little fun little activity. So I I call it 5 words. I'll list a word, whatever comes to your mind. You list a word, and we'll go back and forth. Whatever comes to my mind, what you say, and then 5 words. Um, fun,
Travel,
relaxation,
massage,
spa day,
rest.
very well needed.
The word I would say is, and this is probably a whole statement. I definitely say as entrepreneurs, we definitely need that time away.
Yeah,
And I will say the other, you know what I was gonna say, staff. That's the one word that comes to my mind because I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, especially if we're doing it by ourselves, we are always doing stuff by ourselves, but we have to know, especially when business starts to grow, that we need help in hiring a staff. I had interns last year. They were wonderful. And so it let me know that I do need to hire somebody.
staff. My word is no, thank you. I want to create a
I feel like
multi.
you do. I mean, you do one-on-one. So I feel like to me, if you hired a staff, it would be more for like appointments and accounting or something like that. But I feel like yours is different. Although when I was in Mexico, one of the massages was a forehand massage.
Yeah, I've
So,
seen that before. Well, yeah, 2 people. Yep. Even no matter the growth that my business takes, and I just want to be able to find ways to, even outside of being an esthetician, is to do it all by myself. Well, not to say I'm doing it all by myself, but I don't want to hire people. If I have to contract somebody to do whatever, then that's fine. But I don't want to be managing adults. Like, no, thank you. And I just find it easier for me to be able to just say yes, say no, or get up. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a better structure for me and my personality, just to thug it out on my own. And if I have to hire somebody to do certain things, of course, but to have people working under me, and the thought of it is just like, oh my God, no. And
no,
my
yeah,
friend
I mean, I guess I was like the same way, but now I'm realizing there are certain things that I like to do and certain things that I don't like to do.
yeah,
I will say that I do not like, I don't know if it's called the little stuff because it's important stuff.
the
I would
tedious
say,
stuff.
yeah, I would say, for example, my Instagram page for the book, the interns came with an idea to start coloring in the pages and posting them, right? It has been wonderful for Instagram. Now people are like, hey, could do my page, do my school. So it's great, right? I
Nice.
realized that although it is very essential to that Instagram page, I don't have time to sit there and color. This is my book and I don't have time to sit there and color.
Yeah.
So for those certain things, I'm like, yes, let me give that to somebody else. Or I made a mistake. This is travel stuff. I made a mistake on this last group trip that cost me a lot of money. Maybe if I had somebody like a little secretary checking stuff, maybe they would have caught the mistake. So I think I'm like the bigger picture person.
Yeah.
And I don't like to deal with the little details, but those little details are very essential and important to the business.
You're
So
the
for me,
brain, you need the creatives.
right, exactly. So I'm like, I need to have somebody to hire, but yes, even I mean, still now I'm still doing everything on my own, but I'm now realizing, okay, and contrary to what people believe, a lot of entrepreneurs outsource a lot of stuff. People are like, oh, they ain't write that, they ain't do that. Now I still like to write my own stuff, but because I have a blog too. But people are doing a whole bunch of stuff where there it was, oh my god, I met this other guy too. Oh my god, I can't even think of who he worked for. He worked for a big politician, and he's like, yeah, I write his stuff for him. And I was like, what, you write?
Yeah.
Like, that's not his words. He's like, no, we do it. And we kind of, and I was like, but how do you know? They're like, we know like how they speak or the language and blah blah blah. And I was like, now that is crazy
Yeah.
that somebody else is doing that particular work. So I'm like, they working smarter and we working a whole lot harder as a smaller entrepreneur. So
Yeah, people are a lot of just everything is a lot of business owners or people in business are people that need certain things. Yes, they use and I was just telling one of my friends because people think, okay, I have to get this person to do this. I need to find somebody to do this. I have to pay somebody to do this. And I'm like, okay, some things yes, but like some things we can do on our own. So it's a balance, and it also depends on the person because some people really just need other people to do it for them or don't have the time and they do have the money. So, it just depends. But that also is another aspect to business. Like we get to decide, okay, am I going to choose to pay somebody to create my logo, or am I going to get on here and create it on my own? Some people don't have the eye to do certain things, so yes, they need um to outsource whatever it is. But yes, do you think that it is important to build a personal brand?
I think it's really up to the person. My brand is, I guess I'm the face of the brand. So I feel like for me it was important, but I know people, the guy that I was telling about that did the group trips, they ain't nobody know who he was. But they built up this Instagram page. I probably didn't even know who they was for a long time too. They built this faceless Instagram page, but it was all about travel. Like
Mm,
literally, I feel like they would just like repost, other people travel stuff. They got popular, then they started doing their own stuff, but nobody knew who they were until they started booking these group trips. And then, of course, they show up running the trips. But other than that, they didn't do it. So I really think it depends on you. I just grew the brand because we started off with solo trips. So we started off with solo trips. We started off with writing on the blog because the blog was me helping people. If I go to Colombia, I'm coming back and writing, this is what I did, this is where I slept at. And so I feel like I became the face of the brand. But that's just because I chose to do it that way. I was being my authentic self. I didn't want to be anybody else. And I feel like it's important for me to show up. I am a Black woman. I am a plus size woman. And so those things I think need to be shown because you will have a lot of people that won't do stuff because
along with your beauty.
right, exactly. All of it. All of it. So I just feel like I feel like we need to show up in those spaces because there are people that are really afraid to, as a plus size person, you will say, I'm afraid to fly because I won't fit in the seat, or I'm afraid to do this and that. And I'm like, and somebody asked a question about LA. They were like, can I come to LA as a plus size woman? I hear about Hollywood. And I was like, huh? I was like, what? I was like, this is where I grew up. Like it was, and she was not from here. She was from another country. But I was like, these are the images that are portrayed around LA. Or, they'll say stuff, people in LA are bougie. I was like, huh, Tiffany? No, definitely not bougie.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes about different things. And so I feel like showing up in those spaces are very important. for me to, help others out that may be wanting to do the same thing, that maybe look like me, in various aspects. So I think that's important for me to have a personal brand.
I love that. So the idea for the podcast is, I spoke on it when I first started. But I talked to so many people. Oh, wait, before I go into this, you were talking about a blog, and I was like, let me ask her. So I recently pulled my because I need to start working on an email list. I never do it. I haven't done it since I've been doing this. So I pulled all my emails from my booking site. I have 3,500 emails. Like, what? Right.
Oh, you have
So
a good email list then.
yes, who would have ever known? I've given 35. I thought I've only I don't know why I thought I gave 1,800 facials. I've given 3,500 facials, like at least 3,500 facials. Because that's not including returning clients. But what am I asking you? Oh, do you have an email list? One.
I do have an email list. I don't utilize it like I should, but it is very important because I honestly open up emails. So I'm assuming other people open up emails too.
Yeah, they do.
But if you have a list of 3,500, I would say expect between 2 to 3, maybe 400 to open it, because the click rate sometimes is a little bit lower. But I think you have a great starting point for is how many people you can maximize with it.
Yeah. And then I was thinking like whoever, because they give you the option to unsubscribe. So I was like, I might as well just start putting out something. And then the people that'll unsubscribe, they'll just, they can go. And then that gives me an idea of what I have to work with. But okay.
You're gonna ask me about the blog? You mentioned the blog or no?
Well, a blog is like, that's not your email list, is it? I was thinking more of like a newsletter. But the question was like, what is the best route you think that I should take with that?
Yeah, so if you have that amount of subscribers, you can do a newsletter. Or some people literally, like, if you want to put your specials and stuff like that, if you're having specials on your facials or anything like that, you can put that in an email. But I will say, for me, and this is just for my audience, if you notice, if you see me on Facebook, my posts are not always about buy my book, go on my trip. Right. So what I'm saying is, for me, you're solely selling stuff. You're selling your facials and stuff like that. So for me, I like a mix of things. And I know my audience can appreciate that too, because I hate somebody continuously selling. So I feel like you should probably try to mix your newsletter up, like either with a testimonial or like something about facials. If you're talking about pores today, like I think you should mix it up with information plus selling, or some testimonials, because then people will more likely stay versus you just constantly like, hey, buy my product or buy this particular thing. That would be my advice if you're doing the email subscription list.
Okay. And I was gonna like throw in this stuff too, like the podcast stuff too.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Back to my question. So the idea for the podcast is to inspire somebody that is just scared to do whatever it is to do the thing. What advice would you have? What do you have to say to her to hopefully change her mind about whatever it is that is going on in her head, because she's scared to do whatever her idea is, or his?
Yeah, so I feel like you hear this phrase, do it afraid. Like you have to, like we all have feelings every time we start something. Even though I had one book, I'm going to be nervous about the next book because I don't know how it's going to be perceived, right? But that doesn't mean that I don't write it, and doesn't mean that I don't put it out there to people, right? So I feel like you have to do it afraid. And then my other advice is, if A doesn't work out, B doesn't work out, you still there's 26 letters in the alphabet. If you have to go through every single alphabet till you get to Z, hopefully it won't take that long. But if you have to do that, then you have to do that. Some stuff work and some stuff don't. But it's up to you to figure that out. You cannot stop. You definitely can't stop at A, B, and C. That's for sure. You have to try different things and see how it works out. And sometimes it may work out for a while, then it kind of slows down. Then you're like, okay, well, either I'm going to focus on what works well, or I'm just going to focus on something new. But my thing is, just don't stop. So get past your feelings and keep it up. And again, consistency is key. You have to keep it up.
Nice. Thank you. Is there anything that you like to share? Is there anything you like to say? How
Um,
can we be found?
So we are on Instagram at Sweet Tiffies, on Instagram at Hughes _of _Africa. We're on YouTube at Where in the Herd is Tiffany. We're always on Facebook all the time. And our next upcoming trips again are join me in Ghana for New Year's Eve. We have a wonderful time. We're there for 9 days. You get to bring it in another country, start your year off on a good note, or join us in November in Egypt. And of course, the books are always on Amazon or my website. So definitely check those out. And I'm excited to see you wherever you follow me at on any of those channels.
Well, thank you, Tiffany, for joining me. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for showing up for you and your business and all the people that you will inspire because of your story. I will be contacting you at some point.
Okay.
But
All
you
right.
have
Thank you.
a good week and happy Monday.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was a fun conversation. I always love talking about business. So I'm excited to see where your podcast goes as you bring a lot of entrepreneurs, because it's exciting to hear different people's paths or how they got there and how they're currently doing in their business now. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having this podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
bye.
That is always fun. Well, today, actually, I just thought about it as I clicked off. This is the first time on the podcast that I have talked to somebody that I know something of, and then I have another podcast scheduled tonight, but I know her. I'm excited about that one as well. Um, but it is always a great joy to talk to somebody like living their dream. And like I said, with Tiffany, she is doing it and she's still working. Like there is no cookie cutter way of doing this. It's just you just figure it out as it works for you, and how she does it works for her. How you know. So I said that I was including word of the day at the end of the podcast. So today's word of the day would be let's see. Commit to it. Commit to whatever it is that your heart desires. Make a plan in your mind that you're going to do it, and then get your journal out or whatever it is that you write, your notes in your phone, and write down the things that you want to do, and pick the lowest hanging fruit and get to work. Like nothing is perfect. Not like me. Like look at I'm like in between, and do it how it works for you. Like for me, like in about 30 minutes I have another client. I've given 2 facials today. I came in here to record my podcast, and then I'm about to go back to work to give another facial or a few facials, and then I'll be back in here recording another podcast. So just do the thing in whatever way that it works for you. Don't forget to thank God for your blessings. Don't forget to say your prayers. Don't forget to subscribe, follow whatever platform you are watching this on. Subscribe, follow. Don't forget to thank God for your blessings. Don't forget to say your prayers. Don't forget to take care of your skin, y'all. Oh, and shouts out to Lucy. So I have a client that owns a little cafe. Not little. She owns a cafe. And they do a bunch of different coffee blends. She doesn't sell her coffee, but she knows that I love coffee. She brought me coffee. I requested actually to have the coffee to specifically, well, I drink it every day, literally all day. But while I am doing my podcast, I am drinking her coffee as well. It's so good. Her cafe is called Sierra Mexican Cuisine. And she brought, not only did she bring me the coffee, she brought me all the ingredients to make this specific coffee. And I just added a little bit of my almond milk creamer in there, but it's so good. I'm going to get all the details because I'm going to start sharing her more, sharing what she's doing. Her cafe is in Southgate, but I'll have more of it probably, if not tonight, tomorrow or my next podcast, I'll be giving you the full details. But I'm super excited about her. She is out here doing it. I love any, not just women, but and where the guys at? Like, I've been talking to all the women. We're the men in business. I don't, where y'all at? But like I said, don't forget to thank God for your blessings. Don't forget to say your prayers, and I will see you guys tonight. Bye.